Morning, I'm Lynn, and welcome to another beautiful day at Ewetopia Farms. Not sure what's on today's agenda, but I think we're going to take you out to the pastures and talk a little bit about why we put the sheep out on pasture at certain times and why not at other times. So we're also going to go in and have a look at that little lamb who hasn't been doing well and see how he's doing. So come on, let's get started. So this morning in here, this little guy, he's pretty well trying to run around the pen. He's feeling a lot better today. So we're happy about that, and he's making noises and he's trying to be active. See that? Wagging his little tail. Things are improving a little bit. We just gotta hope Mom doesn't step on him. So this morning we're gonna bring the other Dorset group over to the adult ewes, and they're gonna get to go out to pasture today with the whole big group. Ben! 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 Watch out! Max! Okay, we'll start that one over again. Max! Come on, stay here. They had a little bit of a ring around the rosy. Ben! Max! Ben! Max! So they're pretty frisky and raring to go, going everywhere. They've been a bit. Max, come here! Dogs, because this is a really frisky group, that makes the dogs a little overly exuberant. Okay, we're going to try this again. The dogs are getting in the way of everything this morning. Instead of being a help, they're actually being quite a hindrance. There goes Big Betty. There, now they got it. So they're pretty excited. And we're gonna go let the others out to join them. Hi girls, are you really excited? They look really excited. So the new group is the one that went through the gate first, up in the lead. That's all the adult ewes that are weaned anyway. The first group is still running around. They're extremely excited. So we're locking this curtain up too. Good enough? This is a new crew over here. All excited to see these coming out. And these guys are heading off to their pasture. I assume these are all the new girls here. They're still running around exploring everywhere. Now they're going back and to check out this barn. The ones that are used to it are all out there. And I go quickly sit on the swing as we let the next group of lambs and mums out today. Rotating this pasture. So in this group we have Thelma and Louise, and we have Leonard as well in here. All of them are doing well. Here they come around the track. There they go. They're off. This little guy here never wants to come out. So Arnie always has to get that one out. So as you know, at our place we do confinement and pasture raising our sheep, depending on circumstances. Obviously in the wintertime they're indoors, and when we have pastures available they're outside. But they're never outside full time. They always have a feed trough and access to food. And every year we talk about actually removing all pasture grazing, because when you have pastures, they are much harder to manage than if you have sheep being fed indoors on a bunk. You have more control. You can set out food for them every day. You don't have to worry about parasites. You don't have to worry about your fields getting tramped up or eaten down to bare ground. Parasites are a huge issue. So ideally you want to be rotating your pastures to minimize your parasites. But even with that, chances are you're going to get it. So you got to have your dewormers. The problem with pasture grazing is that the sheep come out onto the fields, and as soon as they hit the field, they're going to start eating the grass. And as they eat the grass at the front of the field, they'll move farther back as they run out of field at the front. But the thing is, as they're moving back, in a few days, the part that they chewed off really low will start to grow back again. And when it starts to grow back again, it's that really tasty fine grass. So when they come out and see it there, the first thing they do is chew it off. They don't let it grow up to the 6 to 8 inches that it should be. They eat it when it's still little. And as they're eating this little regrowth, the stuff that they hadn't reached at the back of the fields is getting longer and longer and longer, and coarser and coarser and coarser, and less tasty for them. So what inevitably happens with pastures is the front of your fields will get grazed off to the point where they turn to dirt because it can't regrow because the sheep keep snipping off the new growth. And the grass at the back of the field, where there's tons of it, will get wasted because they won't eat it once it gets past like a foot. They're very reluctant to eat it. So you think that putting them out on pasture is easy, but it's not. So that's why they usually tell you to run a high number of sheep on a small amount of pasture, and with electric fence, switch them every 2 to 5 days. 1, to avoid parasites, 2, to avoid overgrazing, and 3, to allow that grass to grow back. And as you rotate it, you want your rotation to be at least a month from when they leave the last field and go back to the first field they were in. That's ideal if you want things to go as smoothly as possible. However, if it doesn't rain, even if you do go through the 30-day rotation, the first field may not grow back. And if there's just a little regrowth, you're still better off not putting them on it, because we get back to the scenario where they eat it off and it becomes dirt. So in the spring right now, this is when grass typically, in our area anyway, is growing the fastest. You can tell by when you're mowing your lawn how often you have to mow your lawn. Is it every few days? Is it a week? Is it several weeks? Is it not growing back at all and it's going brown? It's kind of just the same as your pastures. So ideally, they say, don't let them out until the grass is at least 6 to 8 inches long. And then you're going to let them out on a small area. We used to do the small area thing. We've gotten complacent and lazy because it is extremely labor intensive to be moving electric fences every few days. Like really labor intensive, especially when you have fields as big as ours are. So we did that in the beginning. Now we let them run on a much bigger area. We still do the rotation though. We flip them around field to field. But our rotation, because they're on a much bigger pasture, we're rotating them probably we're watching basically the condition of the grass. If they're grazing it right down, then we'll move them on to a new pasture, because that's where they're going to be picking up the parasites. So you want your grasses to grow long. Now in this pasture where these Dorset ewe lambs are, the fall ewe lambs, this usually gets severely grazed off in this little corner section as you come out of the runway here and into the field. And when a pasture gets severely grazed off, what happens is weeds come in. So just looking at this pasture, you can see our dandelions, and it's in this kind of radius here. If I zoom out, you can see almost where the dandelions are ending, and there's longer grass back there. And that's because last year they overgrazed the front portion. The weeds set in. Luckily, the weeds that set in were dandelions, because dandelions are highly nutritious. It could have been pigweed and all the stuff they can't eat. Goldenrod, pigweed, burrs, thistles, all of that could have set in too, and then you got a real nightmare. we were lucky. What set in for us was clover and dandelions. But as I watched the lambs this year, they go right through this dandelion patch, which is highly nutritious, but I'm guessing it's very, very rich right now. And the sheep are actually not stopping here like they normally do to eat all this. They're moving on to the grasses back there. So that's actually going to work in our favor this year because they're going to move farther away from the passage opening. Because not only do these passage openings get overgrazed, they also get trampled down and they turn to dirt. And because they're walking through it at the entryway, they're putting contaminants in it as well. They're adding to the problem. So I'm going to go into the next pasture and show you what we're going to be looking for, the one that we don't have any sheep in. But also, you know that we held back on putting the sheep out, and our rams are still not out on pasture because they're in lower fields. The grass is long enough for them to go out, but it's extremely soggy and wet, and that will destroy the fields from tramping, and it will also cause foot issues. So you have to wait till the fields are fairly dry so they're not sinking in. Today, because the temperatures are really nice, everyone except for that little lamb who is back in the barn crying for his mom, he's obviously not got a good mother because the mother doesn't go check on him. So we're going to go get him out again. But the rest of them, all the lambs, are seeking shelter and resting under the hay wagons there. I don't know if you can see them. But they're liking just staying outside in the fields. Ernie was going to go out and try chase them farther away. But the reverse happened. Now he's chasing them back. Dandelions make for great photography because they are so bright yellow. Hi, girls. Just ignore him. He wants you to go graze, not come in. Look at the face. Look at her face. Look at the yellow. She's been eating dandelions.
She's doing the bee thing.
Look at the faces. Were those dandies good? You also have to teach the sheep that it's okay to leave the security of the barnyard and the barns. So right now he is trying to push them to the far end of the field. But they're balling up right now. They don't want to go any further. That's where dogs come in handy. But he can't outrun the flock. He wasn't here. He thinks they're grazing all up here, but actually they were back in the green area, not up here. And you really have to give Ben credit for trying to hold those sheep back. He's doing a really good job. Good job, Benny. Now you guys are going to get hot running around. Is it shady under there, you guys? You guys, you're not going to get stuck in there, are you? So as you can see, they come out through the gate here, and you can very quickly see the pathways that they start to make, where they wear the ground right out. And then as they move away from the gate, where the pathways will start to disappear. They've been out here for just a couple of days now. Oh, if you were to ask Arnie if he likes pasture or grazing, he would say no. It's really, really nice to see them out here. But we do find it's way more work out here. Except if you want to go away quickly, and, well, not even then. It's easy to roll out a bale and feed them off a bale. And then you don't have to worry about the parasites. The only thing we like about pasture grazing is that they get exercise and, you know, they get to run around and enjoy it. But the ramifications are usually not too good. Inevitably, they will get parasites, and we'll have to run them through the chutes and treat them with dewormers. And it doesn't matter if you have parasite-resistant sheep or not. Dorpers are parasite-resistant, and they still get them. If the worms are there, they can probably take a higher worm load, but it's still something you're going to have to be managing. But this is the length you want your pastures to be at. See, I'm getting closer in the back. And you can see that the blades of grass, if it was a little more windy, blow in the wind a bit. Basically, they say the size of a pop bottle. I just decided to go for a little walk in the bush to see how the trilliums are doing. And they're just starting to come out now. In a few weeks it'll be wall-to-wall trilliums. Talking about pasture length, we've just come into one of the really back pastures, and this one is probably, they'll eat it, but it's almost up to Arnie's knees. And what happens is they'll eat some, but they'll end up tramping it over, so it'll fall over to the ground, and then once it's flattened out, then they don't eat it.
Yeah, real thick right there.
Here's a pink one. They come in white, pink, and red. In this part of the bush, it's wall-to-wall flowers. This is the forest at the back of our property. There's a red one. Hi, Lynn. Unfortunately, the woods are filled with mosquitoes right now. I don't know if you can get a feel for it, but I'm sitting in our kind of the double trunks of a really, really big tree here. One day if we're retired or have more time, we did have trails cleared out in here, but I see a lot of it's overgrown. But it would be nice to have some easy walking trails. But it's something, again, you have to keep up every year because in windstorms the branches all get knocked over, so you always have to clear it up. Complaining that the fields are really wet, but where there's usually streams in here at this time of year, they're actually dry, which is really kind of foreboding because the streams in the forest don't usually dry up till, gosh, August. The young lambs, the Dorset, stay all together, and they found a nice shady spot here. Hi! And there's Lynn. Hi, Lynn. How you doing? Hi. Is it nice out there in the shade? There she is. She's a beauty. Going to Alberta one day. And what are you doing? Are you caught in a string? Where's Lily? There you go. You're really nice. Hi. It's a hot day, isn't it? Yeah, it's a really hot day. Hi, you guys. You guys are smart finding that tree. There's the sheep that Arnie says I charge way too little for. She's probably the best one in here. Andrew has good taste from the camera. She should do good in the commercial classes at the shows, I'm guessing. She's not tame, but it wouldn't take long to win her over. See you guys later. We're gonna go feed the other guy in the barn. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Hey buddy, are you hungry? Hi, are you hungry? Are you nursing off your mom? Are you nursing off mommy? She wants you to nurse. Hi. Hi.
Come on, put it in your mouth.
So I hope that gave you guys a little bit of ideas about pasture grazing. We do like it, but only for the exercise and the aesthetic of it. Probably it's safer for the sheep to feed them indoors because of parasites, predators, and just keeping your fields in good condition. But if you're willing to put in the work, you can manage fields so that the sheep do relatively well with it. And yeah, it's a personal preference. But you do, if you have your sheep out there, you do have to watch for foot issues, fencing issues, predators, and parasites. But otherwise, it's great. Anyway, hope you enjoyed your time at Ewetopia Farms, and I hope we'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, bye for now.